Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan and I appreciate you being here. Today's video is going to be me going through my budget from June of 2025, reviewing budget, seeing my expenses, and seeing how the month went. If you're new here, I am currently living in Dubai. I'm a salaried employee in hospitality. I live over here with my partner, so what you are seeing is my half of the expenses. We do split everything pretty much 50-50. And if you can hear some noise around, it is my cat. The camera on, he started running around, so bear with me. So jumping right into the spreadsheets, the first line item is always my rent. I did pay this in June, so I've set aside $3,250 and my running total for that is $3,250 because I've just paid for it. If you're new here, I pay my rent every 4 months, so there is usually a running total for savings for that. My DIWA, that is water and electricity, I budgeted $250. It came in at 230.98 fils, so a little bit under budget there. Internet, this one's gone up, so I had budgeted 146 dirhams and 50 fils. That was for the introductory rate. That's now ended, so I'm now sitting at 190 dirhams a month, which, yeah, obviously I had budgeted for is 43 dirhams over. It's fine. Gas for the home, 50 dirhams, that's always the same, 49.69. Chiller, I had budgeted 140, it was 124.23. We've been keeping the house a little bit warmer than we have in previous years, so it's actually lower than what I've been budgeting, which is nice to see, at least for June and into July as well so far. My car payment is $982. That's exactly what I paid. My running total on that is $7,561. I did make a lump sum payment on that this month, which isn't reflected here, but it is reflected in the running total. My car gas, I budgeted $270. I paid $253. That's filling up 3 times through the month, so a little bit under, which is nice. Car tolls and extra, so I definitely budgeted extra here because I knew I needed to get an oil change. That is for the tolls, the oil change, parking, anything else that's car related goes into this category. I spent $797, which is over budget. I think the oil change was more than I expected it to be, and there was a few things that I needed as well while I was in there, so I said just get it done. So it was a little bit more, but nothing crazy. Grocery and toiletry I also went over, so I budgeted $1,100 as I do pretty much every month. I spent $1,235, so $135 over, which again sounds like a lot, but is not really crazy. Jasper, that's the cat. I budgeted $300 because I knew this would be a little bit more expensive for him as well. He went to the vet for his yearly checkup and shots, and he also got microchipped while he was there. So in total, that was $303.04, so pretty close. Health, so June was a pretty expensive month in general, and this is mostly why. I had budgeted 800 dirhams, but I actually spent 5,800. And this is mostly for dental work that I'm going to have done. That was a deposit for aligners that I'm going to be doing in the future, so at least that's done. I've withdrawn the money from my emergency fund, so yeah, that will be shown in my income. Then into the fun section, my restaurants, I had budgeted 400. Somehow I spent exactly 400. I don't know how I did it, but I was literally exactly on budget. Delivery, I had budgeted 100. I spent 72.75, so under budget there. Personal and miscellaneous, I budgeted 700. I renewed my golf lessons, so I spent 595, and that's the only thing that I paid for this month, so under budget. Netflix is 45 dirhams-ish a month, and it was actually 47 this month. That is just because of the Netflix that I have purchased is from a different country, but I pay in dirhams, so it fluctuates a little bit depending on the conversion rate. Gym/class pass, I pay for class pass every month. It's 309 dirhams, that's what I paid. For the home, I budgeted a little bit more this month for this as well. I budgeted 250, but actually I spent 293. I know I bought curtains. I must have bought something else as well. Candles. Yeah, so biggest purchase was curtains. I also purchased candles for the month because I was all out. So yeah, 293.84, 43 dirhams over for that. travel, nothing in this, but I did include extra money in the transfer that I made to my US accounts for some upcoming travel. So you'll see that in a minute. Miscellaneous, I had budgeted $18.50. This is basically the category I used to just zero out my budget, but I actually spent $277. This is for glasses. It's actually a work expense, so this will get refunded to me, but it hasn't been yet. That's why it's still sitting in my budget. And then future, so this is all my savings areas. In my emergency fund, I had budgeted $1,000, and if you see up here, I actually put $1,000 in from my salary, and then 207 was the interest that was accrued, so it ended up being 1,207, and that is the current running total, 65,000. To my US accounts, yeah, so this is where I've added extra money. I sent $1,600 home. I'll show you in a second what I did with that, but that was 5,947 dirhams. Sabbatical, I had budgeted 300, I put 289. That's a funny number also because interest in there is included. Running total is 13,000. Actually, this is the first time I have a sabbatical account in a video, so I have changed my thinking. If you've seen my previous video, I was previously saving for a house or for an investment home, and I've changed that to a sabbatical savings, so it's still the same savings account, it's just aiming towards a different goal. This feels much more realistic in the near future, whereas buying a home or buying a rental property would have been a future goal. So now I feel like I'm saving something that is a bit more tangible that I can see in the near future. So that's why I've changed that. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about putting money towards a long-term sabbatical. Car fund, I've also changed my goal here. So I've decided I want to pay off my car this year. I was just going to make the rest of the payments as they're scheduled, but I decided I just want to pay it off and have that out of my budget. So I'm putting 1,000 dirhams aside every single month into a sinking fund, because I can't just make principal payments towards my loan. It works a little bit differently over here. So I put 1,000 aside. Yeah, and here's that extra payment. So I took out 2,947, and that is to actually make that lump sum payment. So yeah. Fund. This is like a splurge fund for myself. Right now I'm just adding money into it slowly but surely. So I budgeted 100 dirhams. I put 103.05. That's including the interest that accrues in that account, sitting at just over 1,000 dirhams. Gifts fund, I budgeted 50, put 51.34, including the interest there, and that is sitting at 453. Coming back up to the top here, talking about the income. So actually I did get a raise, which is really nice. One of my goals this year was to increase my income, so that was one way to do that. I'm really excited about that. In addition to that, I also got a bonus from our sales last month, so it's actually even higher than expected. So it's actually even higher than like the new raise. I expected 18,200. That is what I earned from work, but the reason that this is different is I pulled 5,000 from my emergency fund, so I included that in income because I used the 5,000 in my expenses. I had 50 dirhams from selling curtains through Facebook Marketplace. 18,200 was my salary, and then the 459.93 that you see there is all of the interest and cashback that hit my UAE account. And my monthly expenses. My monthly expenses totaled about, I'm over by about 105 dirhams, which is fine. There's always a buffer in my account, so that it's not negative or anything like that. And then scrolling down here, what did I do with the money that I sent to my US account? So I put $900 in my Roth IRA. That is the biggest transfer that I made all month, or that I've made all year so far. I really want to put a bit more towards my investing. In the first half of the year, I did not put as much towards investing because I was paying for other things. But now I want to shift the focus a little bit and heavily invest and heavily save. I actually changed this. So I did $650 to my vacation fund, which meant there was $35 that just stayed in my checking account. I transferred $1,600, but this total comes to $1,585 because there's a $15 wire fee every time I transfer money there. And that's it. So yeah, things were pretty close. It was an expensive month because of that dental deposit. A little bit over budget in general because of the work expense, but that will be refunded. So yeah, it felt like a really expensive month throughout the month, but in reality, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Things always have a way of working themselves out when you're tracking, at least. So this is why a budget, to kind of note to expect. It makes things feel a lot less emotional when it comes to money. So I was worried it was going to be a really negative month for my net worth because I track that every single month. And I paid my rent this month, I paid for that dental deposit, but with the markets doing as good as they're doing lately, it was a negative month, but not by nearly as much as I thought it would be. So in general, I'm pretty happy with how the month went. My spending was not exactly typical, but I knew exactly where my money was going, and I'm happy with all of those areas. Speaking of my net worth, I am thinking to do a net worth update. In the very beginning of this YouTube journey, I did a journey to 100K video, and I am still working towards that. I thought I would do an update on that in the near future. And that is everything for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.